If you like to make your background card panels in advance to prepare for your cards, then this video is for you. Let's make mixed media backgrounds using embossing powder, splatters, and ink. This is Colleen from the WOW Embossing channel. Welcome. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button so you never miss another WOW video. So I had recently made a bunch of background card panels for myself using Lindy's Stamp Gang Magicals. They were so much fun. And I pulled these three aside because I wanted to build on this color and create a mixed media background. The beauty of mixed media backgrounds is that you can do whatever you want to it, and it's very forgiving. Today we're going to be adding embossing powder and splatters to these colors. Now we're using a few products from Gina Designs. I wanted to set aside a sentiment and a flower, but the focus is going to be using these red rubber stamps. That is what we're going to heat emboss over that beautiful color along with the splatter. So let's get started here. We're working with the first card panel, and I'm using a stamp called Elegant Script. So it's just writing, very elegant, old-fashioned writing. And I thought that would be beautiful to add on top of that color from the Magicals. So I prepped my card base since I will be heat embossing. And now I am taking my WOW sticky embossing pad and I'm going over the rubber stamp, but not completely. I am deliberately leaving some areas unstamped because I want a distressed look. I don't want to cover the entire card panel. That's one of the fun things about mixed media is that you can play and get adventurous in how you use your stamps, and you can find a lot more uses for your stamps this way. So now I'm just pressing down to make sure that that WOW ink gets onto my card panel before I heat emboss it. And you're going to see what it looks like as soon as I add this luxurious chocolate embossing powder, which is a scrumptious opaque embossing powder with brown and gold in it. And can you see how pretty that looks? Now I'm going to go in with my paintbrush and just remove a little more of the powder because I don't want to cover up the entire card panel. I want this to be kind of playful and unique and abstract. Abstract's a good word for these card panels. And that's the beauty of mixed media. So now I'm going in with my dual speed heat tool and I am heating the embossing powder. And when the embossing powder is dry, it goes from a matte finish to an embossing finish and it gets shiny. So this is done. I've done some heat embossing. Now I'm going to go in and add a third layer because I've got my color, I've got my heat embossing and shine. Now I'm going to go in and add more color with ink splatters, and I'm using Distress Oxide inks, and I'm just going to go in with my paintbrush and splatter right over the top of all that. I am not worried about looking neat and pretty. I just want to add another layer of interest and color. And then I go back in with white because I think that brown just wasn't, it didn't pop enough for me. So I went back in with a white splatter and added that. And I think that did a lot more for this background card panel. And can you see all that detail in there? Oh, I love that. Now let's do this again with another card panel and another background stamp. This is called the Bloom and Grow stamp set. And I'm going in just sporadically, not covering the entire stamp with the WOW pad, only covering certain areas. And then I'm getting it ready to heat emboss. And this time I'm using Weathered Gold embossing powder, which is a gorgeous antique-y type of gold embossing powder that I thought was perfect for this card panel. And I am heating it up with my dual speed heat brush, and then I'm going to go back in and add my splatters, my third layer. But look at all the beautiful stuff that's going on. So now I have all three of my cards done, and I have added embossing powder to each of them. I have added splatters to each of them, and you can still see all that beautiful color in the background. Now these cards are ready to add my focal point to them, and I can use it now or I can use it later. I am going to show you in a few minutes one of the cards that I made with that center background, and the other two backgrounds I set aside for another time when I'm in need of inspiration. Aren't they beautiful? So here is a card that I made using that one background. I trimmed it down to square size, and then I applied a little black lip behind it just to kind of frame it out. And then I heat embossed that flower in the weathered gold and added that over the background. And I also stamped it in a color that was similar to the background, so it would bring out more of that color. See what you can do with your backgrounds? Isn't that absolutely beautiful? I'm so glad you joined me today. Grab your tools, grab your toys, and get going on your mixed media backgrounds.